So one of the biggest benefits I got from knowing Moe was watching him hit balls. I don't think there was anything I had more fun doing than dragging Moe to a range and just taking a big bucket of balls and just sitting there watching him. And I learned so much from just, sometimes it was asking questions. I'm not sure that he answered them well a lot of times, but it was just observing things. And every time I saw him, I would see new things. I would see something that I was curious about, or I'd take the video home of him hitting balls and it would help me. And of course, I used him as my model. I think the biggest benefit was having Moe as my model, something I could refer to as right and wrong. I think it's one of the biggest challenges with golf instruction today is we can sit out here and guess all day long, and we can look at the ball flight result and say, well, it was right or wrong, but the ball's kind of lying to us a lot of times. When I work with students, like you guys here at the school, I'm looking for good swing mechanics because that produces the result we want. And I work always towards that because, matter of fact, I have a meeting today at 3:30 with some of our instructors, and we're looking at your guys' swings, and we're learning how we all speak the same language of what we see going on. I see from the perspective of cause and effect. I'll just give you a quick example. Yesterday, you probably saw the guy I was teaching yesterday, PJ Pro from Tulsa. I watched him let me see hit a golf ball, and I watched him, and he's a good player, right? He's won a couple section events, really decent player. And I see him take the club back, and I see his hand position at the top of the swing. And it looked like this. It was kind of like this. So he had really bowed his hand at the top. And this is exactly where my brain went. You read Hogan's book, right? And he goes, how'd you know? I'm like, because what they teach in Hogan's book is a very famous picture in that book is to put your arms close together. It puts these arms external. And then you can't really hinge your wrists from arms external, so you lift the arms like this, right? I've seen it so many times. I've just done this a long time in my life, and I'm like, so what you see there though is from a position like this, you see he's hit a lot of balls. He's figured it out, not well, but he figured out how to make contact with a golf ball from this position. So you see a compensation occur somewhere to make up for it. So it's all biomechanics in a way, because how do I fix that, right? Well, what happened to him is the arms would get trapped, the face was shut, and the worst thing you can do in a golf swing is affect the face. So the face gets shut, comes from the inside, and he goes, I can't stop hooking it. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't stop hooking it from there either. You almost have to hook it from there. So what did I do? Pulled his arms apart. I made the arms go here, and look what happens. From the same grip, I can shut the face, or I can get the face on plane. And that's because of this arm going like that versus like that. And so I see the cause and effect of it. And so I see this club move, and I see his hand position. Grip looked pretty decent. Setup looked not bad. Not a big deal there. Maybe a little thing there, but that was it, man. Get that fixed out. So that was causing this shut face, come from the inside. Got him, and he goes, wow, it's just coming down like that now. Yeah, and the face, the ball. So I get the result I want, but I didn't do it from the ball. I did it from changing the way his body moved the club. And I've just learned as an instructor, the only way I can change and help a golf swing is to fix the positions you're in. If your club's not moving right, it's something your body is doing to it, something your arms and hands are doing to it. So that's really, and when I practice, and I don't practice that much anymore, but I don't really care about the ball that much. Most of the time I got a video camera, I'm just checking my positions, checking my things, and every bad shot I hit is missed a position, or the club went in a bad spot, or I just wasn't loosened up or something. But if you're hitting good positions, like I'll just hit a couple here, this is just 7-iron, and one thing that's important to me is I like to feel my body lined up. I really feel like everything's just, this is lined up, this is lined up. I don't want to say I feel relaxed, but I feel kind of everything in line. Not a lot of tension. I don't feel any tension in the right arm. And what happens when I get in the right spot here, look where the club points to the lead side of my body. When I turn, it has a natural path to it. See that? See it naturally going to the inside? That's the natural path of the club. I'm not trying to take it there. I'm not trying to take it in. I'm trying to keep it just in the turn of my body like that, and then I hinge it up, and that's where the swing plane is. So if I do that, it should take it to a pretty good plane. You might ask the question, so here's the question I have, how's that face square? Like, how did he even do that? I didn't try, but I'll show you. Because if you have the hand in a good spot, so right here at address, notice that relationship is square to the face, right? So look what happens, and this is what I've learned through the biomechanics of it, because Moe really didn't know what he was doing, but he did it. So I had a good model. Then I had to figure out how is he doing this without knowing, right? But watch the face, watch this. When I take the club back, okay, so a couple things are happening here, and we'll talk more about this, but when I stabilize, I'm in a side bend and a bend. When I turn, because of my body's position, watch when my arm starts coming down. Based on where this hand position is, I cannot not square the face because I can go as far as I want and it only goes to square. Does that make sense? Because of what? The position I'm in. That's allowing this to only go there. I can't not square it. So I don't try to square it, I just make sure I'm in position. Because if I do this, watch, if I do this, I can close the face. I can close the face because I went that way and this arm can go that way. So what's causing the face to square? The position of my body. Because I want to be able to do this as much as I want and never and always had the face square. So that's why the tilt of the body and making sure I'm able to hit these positions produces the arm motion I want. And again, I'll just hit a good one here, where I'm not trying to square the face, I'm just letting the club go, and based on my body's range of motion, it squares the face. Okay, so again, I like to get everything lined up. My body's in its position to swing kind of a natural motion here. You're gonna see there's also a range of motion to my wrists. That's max range on my wrist hinge. Again, as far as I can go. So max range, max range, max range, because I can only go so far when my foot's down. So I'm just limiting my body in all these positions. That's what I saw in Moe, by the way. I saw the way, you say, well, he keeps his foot down. There's a reason. There's a reason, because one time I asked Moe, I was like, why are your arms so straight? Why are your legs so straight? He goes, what's straighter than straight? But he's right, because you can't screw it up. Like if my foot's down every time, it's gonna stop my pelvis every time. So now my pelvis is gonna stop, it has to stop. All I can do is move it that far. All I can do is move this far because of my body position. And now just swing the club with those positions. And it's like, you can't not square the face. So that's kind of where my teaching has evolved, because I have this model and then it's just about positions. Can I match the positions? If you ask me why I got good at it, it's because I didn't care about the ball. I only care that I match the model. And then I put that into a sequence. And then all I cared about, am I hitting the positions of the model? Am I hitting the position of the model? Then I had these key positions I wanted to hit. By the way, the club is kind of what I call the litmus test to it. The club, you're moving the club. So the club, you're looking at what the club is doing, but it's based on what your body's doing. So all I really cared about was, I remember I had a ratio. I used to hit like 100 balls into a net, watch it on video, then run outside and hit a couple, see what the ball was doing. But it was like very few balls to care. I knew when I was hitting it solid. You know when you hit it into a net. Didn't know where it was going, but and I see all my friends have these by the way, I have a TrackMan in my office, never opened the box. $25,000 machine, I've never even opened it. Because you want it? Yeah, I'll take it. 26,000. No. But I mean, they're cool. Look, there's a value to them if you're like testing a driver, you want to see how far your ball goes. I think they're good for your wedges, but people try to learn from data. They try to use the data. I always laugh at it. I was like, hey, club face is closed and the path is open. What are you going to change in your positions to change that? Because it ends up being a position. You got to change something. You got to change the club movement somehow, right? And you start chasing the club movement around. Well, that's a body problem, not a club problem. Maybe you can't put the club where you want it because your body's out of position. So my entire instruction has gone to, look, just keep focus on the model and matching those positions, and the club will start moving better and better for you. There's always a body position behind the club movement. Does that make sense? So same thing. If I get this feeling right, the club goes back without even thinking about it, right in the right spot. Yeah, but I asked Moe a lot of these questions, like, how'd you learn this? And it's just like, hit your positions. And so what positions? Well, I just modeled him. He just became my model. Just model, just model, match yourself to the model. And I always tell people there's only one solution to every swing problem. Match the model. Just keep getting better and better at the model, and your swing gets better and better. That's best of the day right there.